Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're doing a prop from, you guessed it, dun 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 banana GoldenEye N64. And I'm super excited about this one because this is one of my, it might not be my favorite N64 game. I still think Star Fox 64 has that title, but I'm really excited to build the iconic PP7 from the game. So let's get into it. Let's see what we need to build the project and we'll go from there. Okay, so I pulled the file into ZBrush to show you guys what you're going to be getting. Essentially, you're going to get the PP7, the connector piece that slides into both ends, and the suppressor. And this is going to be a pretty simple, straightforward build. I also pulled in if you are printing it in resin. Now, note that all of these prints that I do are able to be printed on resin and on FDM. I've printed the PP7 both ways. The only thing that the resin has above the FDM printing is it's going to be completely smoothed with the resin. And I also include with the resin files the supports. All you're going to do is have to add the drain holes wherever you want the resin to drain out if you're not making this a solid piece. I can also show you guys this. So this is what you're going to get within the file set of the model, and then I have some slight things. You read the printer setting details and all that sort of stuff within, and this should be what you get when you purchase the PP7 file. And if you're building this along with me, I have all of these items linked down below in my description. So once done printing, we need to take it off of the build plate and get it prepped to have its little bath time, or the Polynesian spa as I like to call it. I typically let it sit for about 5 minutes inside of the jacuzzi just to get all the resin out of it. And this is really important because you really want to make sure you get all the water out of it. Typically I let it sit for like an hour or something like that to have all the water drain out of it before I UV cure it. So now that we have it UV cured, I'm going to take some 220 grit sandpaper, and you see me here hitting it with an orbital sander. Again, I say this in every video, you don't need an orbital sander, it just speeds up the process instead of doing it by hand. But yeah, we're starting with 220 grit. So what I like to do with these drain holes is put a little bit of paper towel or toilet paper in there so it seeps up the resin easier. It just makes it quicker to fill these holes. You have to do it over it less and less with the paper towels. That's just a little trick I like to use. And here you see me using metal files. Just use it sparingly and don't push too hard because it can leave pretty deep grooves into the resin if you're not careful. And now that we have the drain holes filled and everything sanded down, I'm going to use 2-in-1 sandable filler primer to kind of fill in all of the little bitty grooves and stuff like that that's left by the sandpaper. Typically I do this step about 1 to 3 times. What I usually do is I'll do it once, I'll take it back out once it's dried and use 320 grit sandpaper to sand it down, and typically that does the job. Sometimes I'll have to do it one last time if there's some really bad grooves in it, but usually 2 is the sweet spot for this. Once you get this to the smoothness level that you like, we're going to hit it with some Rust-Oleum Gloss black spray paint. Now I'm just trying to get a nice base going on, get the paint to stick, and then I'll take it back out after it's dried and hit it with 400 grit for the final time. Typically I wait about a day in between spraying and sanding, and I usually hit it 1 to 3 times just like the filler primer. Now that we got the paint looking all smooth and shiny, we're going to finish it off by sealing it with some satin enamel. Now I really like satin. You can use matte or gloss, but for this one, satin gives it just a little bit of pop without making it look too glossy. And just like the filler primer and the paint, I usually hit this about 3 times. And now that we got it all sealed, let's take it out for a field test and final results.